Wii Sports Resort stamps house some of the hardest challenges in the game. Stamps were essentially the achievements you could unlock, and for every game, there are 5 different stamps to collect. These could be obtained by doing something easy like shooting a 3-pointer in basketball, to as hard as bowling a perfect game. I decided to come up with a fun challenge using these stamps, called the Wii Sports Resort Stamp Gauntlet. In this challenge, you try and get as many stamps in a row as possible. For every match you play in a game, you must unlock at least 1 stamp while playing. If you unlock a stamp, you can continue, and it gets added to your stamp total. But if you don't unlock a stamp, the challenge is over. The goal is to see how many stamps you can collect in a row before you lose the challenge. Now this may seem straightforward, but you're actually locked out of obtaining a lot of stamps by doing this. For example, in sports like swordplay and table tennis, there's a champion you have to defeat in order to get a stamp. But since you have to get a stamp for every match you play, it makes it impossible to grind for enough skill points to reach them, making the stamps impossible to obtain. Stamps that are more luck-based are also near impossible to get, such as getting a hole-in-one during golf. Also, for this challenge, I'm starting on completely new save data for the game, not just a new me. This challenge took a lot of time and planning, so please like and subscribe, it really helps smaller YouTubers like myself. And without further ado, let's begin. Now, before I start my attempt at the challenge, there needs to be 2 things decided. One is the Mii that I'm going to use, and 2 is the plan used to maximize the stamps collected. Let's start with the former. For this challenge, I need a Mii with experience in at least most of these sports. I ended up making a Mii of Peter Griffin from Family Guy. Now, Peter may not seem like the best pick as he's not the most athletic, but due to how long the show's been running, he's ended up with experience in 9 out of the 12 game categories. I've found clips of Peter sword fighting, playing frisbee, basketball, table tennis, golf, bowling, jet skiing, cycling, and skydiving. With this diverse set of experience, this challenge should become a lot easier. All that's left now is to plan our stamp route to maximize how many we collect. Before recording, I ended up making a Google Doc categorizing all the different stamps, from easiest to impossible. We'll be working our way up in difficulty in order to get the max amount of stamps possible. So for example, first we'll be going for something like the secret strike in 100-pin bowling, and later in the challenge we'll be doing more difficult ones like getting a perfect game in bowling, if we even make it that far. There's just one issue with this plan. Our first game isn't going to be an easy one. Let's talk about some basketball. Basketball 3-point contest will be the first game we'll be tackling in this challenge, for a very important reason. This is the only game in Wii Sports Resort where you can collect all 5 stamps in only 1 match. There's just one issue, which is that these stamps can be pretty difficult to get consistently, as sometimes the motion controls have a mind of their own. But if I were to put this game at the start of the challenge, I can retry as many times as I want. Now, I can safely get up to 5 difficult stamps without any threat of losing the challenge. I'll be trying to get 3 stamps here, which involves getting 5 balls in a row, getting all the bonus balls through the hoop, and scoring 20 points. I could have went for all 5 stamps, but one of those is getting a perfect game, and I value my sanity over making this YouTube video. With the plan ready, it was time to do my attempts at getting all 3 stamps. Unfortunately, I soon realized how frustrating doing this would be. No, God! I was 1 away! Jump! Come on! What? That was the last one! Come on, please, no! Please. I want to cry. I actually want to cry. That is the 4th time that has happened! Of course! It's the one! What matters? Please. Yes! Finally! Yes! Oh my god, that took like 40 minutes. Finally, I had acquired the first 3 stamps of the challenge, and now I was feeling pretty good. The next stamps would be a lot easier in comparison, due to me doing all the easy ones first. Next, I wanted to do the secret strike at 100-pin bowling, so let's go ahead and start. Why can't I play 100-pin bowling? Let's take a look back at the intro to this video. Also, for this challenge, I'm starting on completely new save data for the game, not just a new me. If you start on new save data for Wii Sports Resort, not all of the games are unlocked at the start. To unlock 100-pin bowling, you have to play one game of 10-pin bowling. This seems pretty straightforward, but due to the challenge, I'd have to unlock at least one stamp during my 10-pin bowling match. Unfortunately, each of the 10-pin bowling stamps are both challenging and inconsistent, similar to basketball 3-point contests. Even if it'd be a challenge, I wanted to get 100-pin bowling in order to get a lot of easy stamps, so I had to try. When I started my game of 10-pin bowling, there was one stamp I was aiming to get. The stamp Gobble Gobble is obtained by getting 3 strikes in a row. This seems simple enough, but usually 1 or 2 of the bowling pins have a mind of their own and never fall down. So, how did it go?
Very, very bad.
Frames 1 through 4 always just had 1 or 2 bowling pins still standing, which had me just a wee bit upset. Was I doomed to lose the challenge on only game number 2? Nuh-uh. And with that, I could rest easy knowing that I got the stamp I needed to continue the challenge. Things went pretty smoothly until I got to frame 10. You see, I actually noticed that I was incredibly close to getting another stamp. The stamp High Roller is obtained by getting at least 200 points in a game, which I was about to do. And with a whole frame to do it, I easily scored past 200 points. At the end of the game, I didn't add just 1, but 2 stamps to the total, making a total of 5. On top of that, I could play 100-pin bowling. So I started my game of 100-pin bowling and Wait a second. Am I... left-handed? Trust me, there's a reason for this. I'm aiming to get the secret strike here, which involves tossing the ball along the railing and hitting this target at the end. For me at least, it's way easier to do this by going along the right railing while in left-handed mode. It's so easy that it only took me until frame 2 to get this stamp. By the way, doing this also gets you the super strike stamp, which you get by getting a single strike. For the rest of the game, I tried getting the off-the-wall stamp, which you obtain by getting a strike after bouncing the ball off one of the railings. It took a while, but during frame 9, I got it! I did it! I ended the game by making the stamp total go up to 8. Next, I decided to go back to basketball to finish up the remaining stamps to be collected. When I completed my game of 3-point contest, I actually unlocked another game, which is Pickup Game. This one has some easy stamps to be collected, which is what I went for. There were 2 stamps I wanted, which were Triple Dip and Rim Rattler. I got Triple Dip on my first throw, which was hitting a single 3-pointer. For the rest of the game, I focused on getting Rim Rattler, which you unlock by dunking the ball 5 times. Usually this would be difficult, as you have to make your opponent try to steal the ball and miss, which lets you get past and dunk the ball. But since it was my first game, the opponent's difficulty was set to the easiest it could possibly be, which made getting the stamp incredibly simple. I finished the game of basketball and my stamp total was now up to 10. After completing all the basketball stamps I wanted to get, I headed to Island Flyover to grab one of the easiest stamps in the game. There actually was another reason I picked the Peter Griffin Mii, and it's to make this game a lot easier. Let's just say, Peter has a bit of a special aircraft.
Quick, to the Peter Copter!
After taking off in the Peter Copter, I flew over to Wedge Island to grab one of the eye points in order to get the stamp Island Hopper. And that's it! I waited around until the game ended to add stamp number 11 to the collection. I'm gonna be honest, after this stamp, a lot of the next ones were pretty boring. So I've decided to do a lightning round where I quickly cover getting these stamps. Let's kick things off with Game 1, Swordplay Duel, where I was aiming to get 3 different stamps. Cliffhanger is completed by getting to the final battle ring after tying the first 3 rounds, which is what I did first. One Hit Wonder is completed by knocking the opponent out of the ring with only 1 swing, which is what I did after making it to the final battle ring. I did another match to get the final stamp, Met Your Match. I completed this one by making it to the final battle ring like before, but stalling the game out in order to get another tie. Getting these 3 stamps now made the stamp total 14. Game 2 was wakeboarding, with 3 different stamps to get. To get these stamps, you had to successfully land different tricks while wakeboarding. I got the ones for getting 100 points in a single trick, doing 7 different tricks in a single match, and landing 10 tricks in a row, bringing the stamp total up to 17. Game 3 was skydiving, which I did to get the high 5 stamp. You get this one by linking up with 4 other people and getting them all in the photo. Unfortunately, this is where the Peter Mii struggles a little bit, as he's so fat that he sinks to the ground incredibly fast. Thankfully, other Miis went out of their way to try and grab Peter, which let me get the stamp, such as creepypasta legend Jeff the Killer. I googled Jeff the Killer and Peter Griffin to see if they had any bad blood, but the only thing I could find was this photo. Honestly though, I support it completely. They can slay all they want. Game 4 was archery, which I did in order to get the stamp Sure Shot. You get this one by never missing the target with an arrow in a single stage. This one was pretty simple. Nothing else to say, really. Game 5 was cycling, where I tried to get the stamp First of Many. You get this one by finishing any race in first place. The Peter Griffin-Mii came in handy, as he spotted a peculiar sign in the distance. Yeah, Peter got first place pretty easily. Let's continue with the TheDapperWaffle coming in handy with Game 6, Frisbee Dog. I went for the stamp Good Dog, in which I used Peter's best friend, Brian Griffin, to get a jumping catch with the frisbee in the middle of the target area. And with the stamps from Games 3, 4, 5, and 6, I was up to 21 stamps. Now with the lightning round out of the way, I decided to play Spin Control Bowling in order to finish up the rest of the bowling stamps. Spin Control is the same as regular bowling, except now there's walls you need to curve the ball around. Unfortunately, this game turned into a big problem. The one stamp I wanted was One for All, which was as simple as knocking only one pin down every frame. I was able to get all the way up to frame 9 without any problems. Frame 9, though, was when an issue started to arise. I aimed my bowl, tossed the ball, and I hit the left side of the wall. If I missed the second bowl, the challenge would be over, as I would have failed to hit a single pin on one of the frames, which would make me unable to get the stamp. Speeding through all these stamps got me careless, and I was one mistake away from losing the challenge. Instead of speeding through everything, I need to take my time and plan this shot. To make sure I was successful in hitting a pin next throw, I decided to develop the first ever Wii Sports Resort bowling formula. Alright, our formula is gonna be Wii remote motion times wind pressure times bowl speed. Wind pressure can be calculated by the equation P equals 0.00256 times V, and that variable is in play, bowling consistency drops by 10%. We can remove Matt by making him leave. Leaving can be calculated by Dad to the power of milk. Now, William Afton used the spring Bonnie suits in order to lure children and kill them in Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. I know chicken nuggets I ate for lunch were quite scrumptious. Success odds increased by 3.4%. Stano vacuum smells. I quarantined him so he has no effect on the calculations. Divide by pi, cross out like terms, and our answer turns out to be... It all makes so much sense now! I did it. Even though things were looking to get back on track, I was met with yet another big issue. At this point, I was done with all the easy and normal stamps, except for collecting all the ducks and canoeing. That one takes forever, it can suck my nuts. And now, I was only left with the difficult and luck-based ones. Luckily for me, I had a trick up my sleeve. The answer to my Wii Sports Resort bowling formula became my new motto, and I displayed it proudly on my whiteboard. As long as I followed it, I could do anything. I mean, if by following it, I could put the perfect amount of spin on a bowling ball to save the run, I feel like I could do even bigger things. All I needed was the inspiration of my new motto. I wanted to showcase the power of my new motto with the first game, table tennis. In table tennis, there was one skill-based stamp I was aiming to get. The stamp perfectly matched is reached by tying at a score of 20 to 20. You do this by getting both you and your opponent to 5 points, and then trading points one after the other to reach the number. Now, if you reach 6 points before the opponent reaches 5, you won't tie the game. You'll actually end up winning instead, so you won't get the stamp. I'll have to make sure this doesn't happen, because if it does, the challenge will be over. I started the match against the easiest difficulty CPU, Cole. I went ahead and got my 5 points, which was 1 point away from winning, and then I started to let Cole score. He got a couple of points, no issue. All he has to do is hit the ball back one time, and he can keep scoring. No! You just had to hit it back one time, and everything would have been fine! One time! One time! And with that, my Wii Sports Resort adventure ended with a stamp count of 22. While following my motto, I failed to realize one thing, which is that other people may not be doing the same. I was hoping to get more stamps, but I guess some people get their kicks stomping on a dream. Left-handed! I shouldn't have screamed that much. It is 10:18. I totally woke somebody up.